My name is Lilian Judy, and I'm the founder of Dear Women in STEM. And I want to give you a brief background about how Dear Women in STEM came about and how my journey ties into everything. I'm originally from Ghana in West Africa. And when I was about 18, I embarked on the journey to pursue my college degree in the US. And so I left my entire family, packed up, and moved to Florida for college. I was going to pursue chemical engineering. And during that time, I encountered a number of things that really changed my life. A lot of international students can relate to this, but when you are in an isolated place, when you have to make decisions for yourself, when you're no longer under the covering of your parents or family or familiar faces and people, you struggle a lot. And I think I went through my fair share of struggle. And I like to think back to that time and thank God for that because I know that's what has birthed this Dear Women in STEM organization, but that's also what has made me who I am now. During that time in Florida, I struggled a lot in school. I struggled a lot with courses that I used to excel in when I was in high school. Those who know me from high school know that I was like the math girl. But then when I came to college, I was struggling in calculus, like things that were very easy. And as an international student, this is not something that you want to hear. This is not something that you want to tell your parents. I tried to take things into my own hands and that never ends well. And through that, I ended up in Massachusetts, went back all the way back to community college. I ended up getting an engineering science degree and an associate's in engineering science degree from a community college. And I think that's when my journey really began because during that time, I developed a stronger relationship with God. I was able to find myself during that isolation period. And I think that's what really shaped me as well. And I figured out exactly what I wanted to do because I think when I found myself just going through the failures and the struggles and the multiple Fs I was getting, it felt like, okay, maybe I'm not meant to be an engineer. Maybe this is not really what I'm supposed to be doing. Maybe I should just transition and study something easier or something I thought would be easier. And so during that process, I decided to remain resilient and I took classes again, became a tutor for the same math classes that I was failing back then, plot twist. And I graduated with my associate's degree, transitioned to study plastics engineering, and I graduated with my bachelor's in science degree. On this journey, it actually took me 8 years to graduate with my bachelor's degree. So if you actually think about it, that's twice the amount of time it would take anybody to like graduate. So I could have gotten 2 degrees within this time period, but God knows best. And I'm grateful for the process and the journey. But during this process and during this journey, I realized that I there were so many times where I had so many questions and I didn't know who to go to. It was a very isolating experience. It was a very isolating time. So when I graduated, I felt like I needed to create the space that I wanted to see when I was in college. Because when I got into the professional space as well, I'm like, okay, I'm negotiating for a job and I don't really know, okay, what's the minimum? I can Google it, but then everyone is telling me it's different because it's based on your location, it's based on the number of years, it's based on so many things. Like nobody can actually come out and tell me, okay, girl, like if they offer you like 45, that's a bit too low. If they offer you this, that's when you should take it. So I wanted real life, like transparency that I would get from my fellow females, not necessarily Black women, but I wanted that transparency and I couldn't get it from anyone else. And when I started working, I realized that I was severely underpaid because I was blessed enough to develop a close relationship with a coworker who was a white male. And during the course of our conversations, he told me how much he was making. And I was like, wow, that's like almost 30K more than me. And we have the same credentials. So what's going on? And if we hadn't had this conversation, if I kept to what I knew, I probably would have thought, okay, I'm making exactly what I'm supposed to be making. And so these are the conversations that kind of started Dear Woman in STEM. I wanted to create a space where we could have transparent conversations with like-minded women who are going through their career journey. But then I also wanted to make sure that I touch those in college, those who are interested in college, in pursuing STEM programs as well. So, Dear Women in STEM consists of women with careers in STEM. We're all passionate about inspiring young girls and supporting graduates who are eager to get into the STEM field, right? We want to create a platform where we can provide resources and support women at every stage of your STEM journey. So, whether you think you're interested in STEM, you don't really know much about it, we want to help you. We want to expose you to what is possible by going into STEM. If you're someone who's in college, you're transitioning into the workforce and you have questions and you just want that safe space to be able to have the conversations that you need, we want to be there for you as well. And if you're in your program and you want a community of women that we can bounce ideas off each other, you're struggling with a coworker or you're trying to um, move up in your career, you're trying to grow and you're not very confident enough to step up to maybe a coworker and talk to them or go to your boss and talk to them. We want to be able to help you, give you the resources from our personal experiences to help you get there. And so that's really what we want to do. We're really committed to give you the tools that you need in order to achieve the goals you want. And this Dear Women in STEM started as a podcast. I started by telling my story. I started by sharing my experiences and the things that I have gone through, both the ups and the downs of my personal journey, in the hopes of connecting with other women, because I don't want anyone to see me at this point and think that this girl's journey is like so amazing and she's speaking on all these panels, not knowing that, yeah, once upon a time she struggled, once upon a time she almost got kicked out of school, and all the downsides of my journey. I want you to know the real and the raw of my journey. And so I started the podcast, and we also want to offer workshops like these where we would touch on topics that would help inspire, empower you, and answer questions that you may have as well. And down the line, offer mentorship programs and so much more. At the core of Dear Women in STEM, we want to offer you transparency. We believe that having honest conversations and sharing our honest experiences is really where we can empower and motivate women in order to thrive in their career. Our mission is to create a platform where we can enrich you. We want to create an enriching platform where we can support you at every stage of your STEM journey. And our vision, the long term goal is to create a leading community where women in STEM can thrive, right? We believe in creating a culture of transparency and support. And like I shared, we want to make sure that we're sharing honest experiences. I had a conversation with a friend, I think during the week, and she talked to me about how people get on panels and speak and they tell you, oh, yeah, so I went from A to B and then I became a CEO. And they skip all the many things that they do in between. And so you might think, okay, you just need to do A and B in order to get to CEO, but you're not, you're doing that, but you're not getting there because that transparency and that honesty isn't really there. And so that's the gap that we really want to bridge. But I wanted to end by letting you all know where you can reach us on social media. We're on Instagram, Facebook, X, LinkedIn, everywhere at Dear Women in STEM.